Good morning, students. So today we will start the first chapter of your 11th chemistry, that is some basic concept of chemistry. This is presented by me, Pandit Ghatak, your chemistry teacher. Okay. So at first we should look at the syllabus. Okay. Here this chapter, that is named some basic concept of chemistry, has contained several general introduction, importance and scope of chemistry. This is also containing some laws as well as law of chemical combination, sorry, laws of chemical combination, laws of definite proportions, laws of multiple proportions, laws of reciprocal proportions, as well as the Gay-Lussac law of gaseous volumes. And the study of matter as well as the understanding the laws of chemical combination and Dalton's atomic theory is being a part of this syllabus of this chapter. Okay. And as in class 11 and 12 you will be doing practicals of titration, so to know the titration and principle of titration you should know the chemical equivalence, the equivalent weight, the variable equivalent weight, as well as the volumetric calculations. So this chapter is, in this chapter we will be learn all this. Okay. And the terms used in volumetric calculation, that is the percentage, weight by volume, normality, molality, mole fraction, as well as ppm, ppb, that is parts per million and parts per billion. We should know all of this by this chapter, in this chapter. Okay. So we should so we should learn this properly to do the practicals very well, because all of you know that in our field, in our chemistry field, it is very important that we do the practicals well. Okay. So to do the practicals well, we need to learn the theory first. Okay. So in this chapter we will be learning the theory pretty well. Okay. Then when the school opens, then we will start to doing the practicals quite easily. Okay. So at first we will start the chapter by doing the study of matter and by understanding the laws of chemical combination and Dalton's atomic theory. Mainly today we will do the study of matter by a time through a timeline and the Dalton's atomic theory. Okay. So we will do this first thing first, that is the study of matter and through a timeline, given timeline, so that we can get an idea over by how the study of matter and study of chemistry have been evolved through years. Okay. And we will also learn the Dalton's atomic theory in this video. Okay. So in the atomic structures timeline, this starts with back in 400 BC, where a Greek scientist, or Greek philosopher rather, Greek philosopher Democritus, having proposed the matter was composed by a tiny indivisible particle named as atom, and this was proposed by him, not backed by a experimental figure or value. He just proposed this on his philosophical thought, not based on his experimental data. Okay. So he was not a scientist, he was a philosopher. And almost in a similar timeline, an Indian philosopher, Maharshi Kanat, also proposed same, but he named the tiny particle as Kona. Okay. And then later on, the alchemy was able to discover some new things in the study of atoms. Okay. In his study was the mixture of science and mysticism. Okay. He was not doing the philosophical aspect or mysticism only, he was also doing the experimental procedure as well, but the lab procedure were developed, but the alchemist did not perform control experiments like true scientist, so he was not a true scientist. Okay. But in back then, in the almost 1000 BCE, he was that he can mainly do without any modern equipments. Okay. So after then, in 1807, the John Dalton, a British school teacher, give gave a proposed a theory. Based on this theory, his theory was based on the experimental value, and he was a true scientist. We can say he was a true scientist. Okay, because his all of his work or all of his theory was proposed or backed by a experimental figure. Okay, he was not a philosopher, he was a scientist, because his all of the study was backed by a experimental figure. He gave his model, and his model was named as billiard ball model. That is, atom is uniform and this atom has structure of sphere. Okay, so John Dalton gave mainly four postulates. Okay, so these postulates are: elements are composed of small indivisible particles called atoms. Number two, atoms of same element are identical, but atoms of different elements are different. Okay. Number three, so atoms of different elements combine to form a simpler proportions to create a compound. So atoms of different element have different characteristics or different nature, but they combine to form a compound. Okay. And number four, that is, in chemical reactions, atoms are rearranged, not changed. Thus, this was mainly the four postulates given by the John Dalton. Okay, back in 1807. But there are some drawbacks as well. As in the two number point, he have told that atoms of same element are identical, but atoms of different element are different. But in atoms of same element may not be identical at all, because in case of isotopes, the isotopes have the different characteristics than other. In case of hydrogen, the hydrogen are three isotopes: 1H1 protium, 1H2 deuterium, and 1H3, that is tritium. The tritium is radioactive, but other two, that is 1H1 and 1H2, are not radioactive. So the natures are different. So we cannot say atoms of same element are identical, because all of three isotopes are hydrogen, but their natures are different. So there are some drawbacks of Dalton's theory as well. Okay, then comes J.J. Thomson. He discovered electrons. And he discovered electrons by a experiment named as cathode ray tube experiment. Okay, so he also gave a model, his model named as plum pudding model. In his model, the pudding, that is, whole of this thing is pudding, and this was positive charged spheres. Okay, so this pudding was mainly the protons and neutrons. Okay, in the pudding, the negative electrons are dispersed throughout, and these are the negative electrons. Okay, these are the negative electrons, and all of these things are positive protons or neutrons. Okay, so his theory was named as plum pudding model. Okay, because he considered the protons and neutrons as plum, and the electrons, the negative ions, are dispersed like a he considers the protons and the neutrons as pudding, and he considers the negative electrons, as plums dispersed throughout the pudding. Okay, and the next one is Ernest Rutherford. He gave the preliminary source to find the proton or discover the proton back in 1911. Okay, he also gave the nuclear model, as well as by doing the gold foil experiment, he have told the exact positions of protons, neutrons, and electrons. Okay, he gave an idea about the nucleus as well as the extranuclear electrons. Okay, he discovered that all of the mass of the atom is mainly concentrated on the center of the atom. Okay, and this center was a positive charge, and this center and contains mainly the most of the mass of the atom, and an atom is contained by two parts, that is a nucleus in the center which is surrounded by the extranuclear particles, that is electrons, by outside, on the outside. Okay, so he gave this idea, that is, and it's photons and electrons. These are the photons and these are the electrons. Okay, so photons are being uh, surrounded by the negative electrons. Okay, next the Niels Bohr, he has given in Rutherford theory has some drawbacks, but Niels Bohr have been corrected it by doing the discrete line spectra. Okay, he have explained the discrete line spectra of electrons or atoms. Okay, he have also told that the electrons can only exist in specific energy states, and electrons move in circular orbit without any within any with the specific energy levels. Okay, so electron does not lose the energy simultaneously. Okay, electron only lose or gain energy when electrons go from one circular orbit to another circular orbit. Here, suppose this electron is present in this orbit, circular orbit, but if it comes from here to here, there, if the energy is higher, so it needs energy, so it absorb energy, and we will get a line spectrum, not a continuous spectrum, because according to the Bohr, that electrons does not lose energy continuously. Okay, if this energy this electron moves downwards and back and take the place here, then it will lose some energy, because it will fall from higher energy level to lower energy level. Okay, so it will lose some energy, but it will not lose energy simultaneously. If it jumps from higher energy level to lower energy level, only then the electron will lose energy, and that's why we will get a bright line spectrum. Okay, not a continuous spectrum. Okay, then the next scientist was Edwin Schrödinger. Okay, this Schrödinger gave us the quantum mechanics and the theory of quantum mechanics. He also gave us the electron cloud model, in the where he explained the orbital as well as the probability as and probability density. The orbital is the region around the nucleus where electrons are likely to be found. Okay, he also gave the probability of finding an electron in a infinitesimal small space. Okay, that is dx. Okay, and then later James Chadwick in 1932 discovered the neutrons, that is the neutral particles of the nucleus of the atom. And then he has also discovered the neutrons charge by doing the Joliot-Curie experiment based on his theory on the Chadwick experimental evidence. Okay, so by now we have an idea about how the subatomic particles have been discovered. Okay, and the location of their the location of protons, neutrons, and electrons. So these are the particles, protons, subatomic particles. There are almost 200 subatomic particles are there, namely bosons, fermions, okay, positons, neutrinos, okay, neutrinos, okay, all of them are there, but the mainly three subatomic particles we have been named, that is proton, neutron, and electrons. Okay, the location of proton is inside the nucleus, neutron inside the nucleus, but the electrons are present in the outside of the nucleus. And here the charge, as we know, the charge of protons and the electrons are same, but protons are positively charged and electrons are negatively charged. Electrons are negatively charged, but neutrons have no charge. All of them have the mass. Proton and neutron almost have the same mass, almost, but not equal. But electrons are very light relative to the proton and neutron. Okay, please remember the mass of electron and mass of electron and the charge of electron, that is 1.6 in 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb and 9.11 in 10 to the power minus 28 gram, okay, or 9.1 into 10 to the power minus 31 kilogram. Okay, please remember these two things from this chart. Okay, so by this we have concluded this part. Okay, so thank you very much. If you have any doubt, please ask me.